Apparently he's leaving. And it says we're live.
Yeah, lies. Okay. If you would like to keep our heads above water, donate here. We had a hell of a toad strangler come through last night.
Twice. Last night and this morning.
Well, and then we had the squall line that came through about 5:30 yesterday afternoon.
Yeah.
If you like coffee, and why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Order from these guys. And when you do, let them know you've heard about it here. Maybe they'll send us more coffee. More coffee.
Yes, Richard, we did get the spicy ketchup. And
I was looking at the ingredients. I am not impressed.
I don't know where it went.
It's right up there with the rest of our spicy.
Oh.
When the acid is second from the bottom in your list of ingredients.
Yeah, it's it's Korean. It's chili paste.
There's very little acid in there.
Yeah. It's spicy ketchup.
Second ingredient is brown rice.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, your head, my back.
Kips.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a hell of a light show from about midnight till about 2 a.m.
Oh, if he's probably not in the chat, he might even not. But if you happen to see my little brother, it's his birthday today. So wish him a happy 50th.
Happy birthday, Chris. Again. You survived another year around the sun.
Well done.
Yeah, well done. Considering.
Oh, damn, Dawn. 4 inches up where y'all are. That's a flood.
Yeah. I take back what I said about going hiking in the canyons. Can we wait a little while?
And for those of you who don't know, we have Courtney and her passenger. We have Cedar, and we have Jonna in the peanut gallery.
Yeah.
Passenger.
It's a kidney stone. What else are you going to call it?
It's not your friend.
It is not my friend.
What do they call that? Piracy?
Yeah.
Freeloader.
Oh, and Differ says, we were promised rain. It's now 105 with no rain.
No.
I'd like to start off today with a little bit of a rant.
Feel free.
Okay. There is apparently a New York State senatrix who is wrapped around the axle because she has $206,000 in student loans, and the Supreme Court said that she can't foist those off the taxpayer. Said senatrix, last name Biaggi something.
Biaggi?
I don't care. Up until last year, was living in a $691,000 condominium. And then last year, late last year, she moved into a $1.something million ranch. But she's on Twitter losing her poo because the Supreme Court said she can't foist her $206,000 in student loans off of the taxpayer. I got issues. Now, I realize that her circumstances are not that of the average student loan person. However, the mindset is this mindset that the risk and financial risk should be on the taxpayers instead of the person getting the finances is annoying me. If you can buy a $1.something million home, pay off your damn student loans. Wait a couple years, pay off your student loans.
And still owns the other place too.
Yeah, she still owns the $691,000 condo.
Yeah.
I should be able to take a risk, and then after I take the risk, I can keep getting the newest iPhone that comes out every year and the best high-speed internet and a bar every night instead of knuckling down and paying off your shit.
Yeah.
Like I said, I understand that she's not the majority of the student loan holders. The majority of student loan people don't have a $1.something million home. But the mindset she's got is.
Yeah.
It really is. And the federal government, everybody does realize that the whole student loan crisis is solely and completely the fault of the federal government, right?
Yep.
People do realize that the federal government is the reason that we have a student loan crisis. In all of this, in all of consigliere Biden, President Biden, the capo do tweety copies, all this stuff about he's going to sign whatever to make sure that the taxpayer foot the bill for all these student loans and gender studies and sub-Saharan basket weaving. Not in one of them does he say anything about fixing the idiot laws and moron programs that led to the problem to begin with.
That would be because his boss, Obama, is the one who took over all the student loans and made them all federal government ones. So.
Yep. And to add insult to injury, let me see, there's a list. The cost since they came into the student loan market that the universities don't have to pay for, the cost for the average student to attend college has gone up by 1,200%.
No kidding. In the 90s, I went to college using the GI Bill. I earned that. I've got hips that tell me I earned that.
Yeah.
I am missing blood that tells me I earned that. And I still ate a lot of Vienna sausages and ramen noodles and I don't have any student loan debt.
I don't either.
Oh.
Of course, the Navy paid for mine, so.
Can we hear Ian's rant about the mystery bag of cocaine at the White House before she has to guess Raptor? Yes. I would like everybody to remember three things. 1, 2 parts magnetic powder, 1 part standard fingerprint powder. Your silver black from Search is your best. Mix it together. Use a magnetic wand or magnetic brush. You can pull fingerprints off of a plastic baggie. I know. If that doesn't work, set one side only, don't do both sides. Cyanoacrylate, otherwise super glue fuming, does pull fingerprints off of glassine bags. If the 1 part doesn't work, small particle reagent comes in a spray bottle from Search. Works really well for pulling fingerprints, as does iodine and silver nitrate. But use silver nitrate last. You can't do anything else once you use silver nitrate.
Yeah.
None of the morons out there, nobody that's using nose candy ever wears gloves when they're handling their baggies. I can't tell you the number of people that said, that's not my baggie. That's not what your fingerprint says. You can pull a fingerprint off a baggie.
Add to this, if it was found where I have been told it was found, it is definitely in an area where there were cameras.
Well, it was found in the library, not where they're saying it was found.
Okay, because what I was told is it found in the cubbies where the people have to store their cell phones.
The first transmission from the person the first person on the radio about this thing said it was located in the library.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
And guess who was in the library earlier that day?
If
I have to guess.
if the first thing you didn't do was pull fingerprints off that baggie,
And you knew.
that's basic fucking police work. That's basic police work. Everybody always says, it's not mine. It's not mine. Those aren't my pants. That's not my cocaine. And you, hey, look, it's your fingerprint. It is your coke.
Yeah.
If they didn't do basic police work, it stinks.
Well, U.S. Secret Service knows how to do basic police work. Now, the question is, how far did the results get?
No, they didn't do it. Oh, guarantee you they didn't do it.
I think they did.
No, because if they did it, it would be listed. It would be that print, and prints are permanent unless you run through a shredder or a furnace. That print would be somewhere, and people take pictures. The way you save a fingerprint these days, folks, is you take a picture of it. You lift it from the surface, then you take a picture of the actual fingerprint on the fingerprint card. So they didn't. I'll guarantee you they went, we don't need to take that fingerprints.
Rick, that is not quite correct. The Secret Service is actually a police force.
How do you think the Secret Service investigates counterfeiting, which is in their purview? By doing police work.
They are actually Treasury agents.
Secret Service is they're the ones you contact for counterfeiting.
Yep.
Also, child porn on the internet is through the Secret Service.
Yeah, Brian, that's a good point. If they did, there would be a record.
There'd be a record.
And-
I'll guarantee the first Secret Service agent went orders from the capo.
Yeah.
Windex.
Yep.
There's no fingerprints on here. Bullshit. Nobody wears gloves when they're handling their baggie of nose candy.
Yep.
And it's always this beautiful thumbprint from where they picked the baggie out of their pocket like this. You get this lovely thumbprint.
And also, you get a print when they pull it apart and open it. Yeah, that's a valid point. Does 10% of the cocaine belong to the big guy? I don't think he'd know if he was taking it. Now, can't imagine a dementia patient on coke. That boggles the mind.
It's a fucking crime syndicate. I swear to God, the Biden family's a damn crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Worse than the Kennedys. And I thought they were pretty bad.
Well, the Kennedys had a longer run. I mean, you go
And
back
they're
to Joe.
making another run at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm,
you go back to Joe running booze.
Booze.
mhm.
The bootlegger.
Yeah, that's where he got all his money.
And Teddy Frogman of the Chappaquiddick.
Yeah.
Did you just snorkel at me?
Yes.
Well, you don't. At least you never went for a ride in a car with Teddy.
Yeah,
I
she's
know
here.
better.
Yeah.
She's here. She hasn't sprouted gills yet.
I know better. Thank you. No better than in a car with any politician.
Yeah.
Point.
Differ says when your granddaughter, who's a minor, is paid millions for consulting, it's totally not criminal. Yeah, right.
No kidding. It's like, why is this file of consultations macaroni on paper?
Yeah.
It's more readable than others.
Point.
Might actually have more information too.
The way some people write, yes, that is very possible.
But I swear to God, the Biden family's a bloody crime syndicate, and they're not. At least the Kennedys tried to hide it.
Yeah.
I mean, when Teddy Frogman screwed up, at least he went before court.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't going anywhere; everybody knew it. But
Yeah.
at least they followed the visuals. The optics were okay.
And Wally says, I'd rather look at that than a 6-inch extension report. Yeah, you go right ahead with that. Nope.
But they're not even trying to hide it. At least the Kennedys had the grace and courtesy to at least try to hide, to
Yeah.
at least fan dance their criminal activities.
Yeah.
Biden's aren't even trying. Just annoys the crap.
Well,
out
Joe
of me.
Jr. died in World War II. He was actually trying to do something good, and it blew up on him literally. He was actually flying one of the B-17s that had been converted to a flying bomb. He was supposed to take off and bail out, and then they were going to remote control it. And before he could bail out, it went boom.
It happens.
Oh, speaking of bailing out, yeah.
That could go so many different ways.
The Iranians tried to snag a couple of tankers yesterday and today.
And the fact that they're not sitting at the bottom of the Straits of Hormuz really pisses me off.
Oh, you're right, Zeb B24. I'm sorry. You are correct, sir. And both tankers were, shall we say, third world flagged. One of them out of Panama, and I forget where the other one was out of. But they both yelled for help. And the U.S. Navy sent the McFall out there along with a Reaper and a P-8. And the McFall went charging out like a good destroyer does. And the one Iranian boat turned and hauled ass back to Iran. The second one said, aha, I have a chance, and went running up and shot the second ship. And the McFall got sent over to it, balls to the wall. Probably the fastest that destroyer's ever run in its life. and broke that one up. So the ship did take some fire, but sadly, the McFall was not allowed to sink either one of the Iranians.
There shouldn't be an allow here. This is piracy.
Well, yeah, you know that. I know that. We also know who's fucking in charge right now.
Law of the sea says you can sink them.
Yeah.
Should catch a Hellfire missile amidships. Wave bye.
Yes, David, the Iranians did use the F-14s that we sold them, and they are the only ones that have ever shot down opposing aircraft with Phoenix missiles.
Can't believe we left too many Phoenix missiles.
Huh?
Can't believe we left too many Phoenix missiles.
Well,
That
they
was
were
dumb.
friends when they got it.
Yeah,
Same thing with the P3s we gave them.
but we need to have something up high orbiting the Straits of Hormuz all the time. And as soon as one of these little pissant speedboats comes out there, sink it. You don't have to do two of them. Do one, and they go, "What the hell?" and try it again. And you do the second one, they stop doing that
I
crap.
don't think that hasn't already been discussed, and there are plans afoot to do that
Uh-huh.
as
Sure.
soon as we get somebody in power that has a set of balls.
Oh, Joe's got a set. Just who's currently holding them. It ain't the first lady.
Yeah. However, in good news for the Navy,
I'm being tacky.
the George Bush passed her flight deck certification today after 6 years in the yards, which was only supposed to be 4. So she is one step closer to heading back to Japan to resume the position as the force carrier for 7th Fleet. 6 friggin' years that boat's been in the yards. It was only supposed to take 4, and then COVID hit. And they found other things that needed to be done. And this was what they call a midlife refit. So this was also a refueling of the carrier.
Remember that we need to start inserting government's overreaction to COVID hit.
Yeah.
It wasn't COVID hitting, it was government's overreaction.
Yeah.
That's something else.
Well,
It's our
Dr.
ranty
Bill,
day today.
Dr. Bill Biden, or Jill Biden, whatever the fuck her name is a doctor in name only, because I read part of that.
Oh yeah. Her dissertation hurts.
I know
That is
high
painful
school
read.
kids that could write a better dissertation than that.
You see, my little master's in English sweetie that's currently teaching technical writing at a university.
She had some words about it.
Woo! She got corrosive when she read that.
David, as far as I know, there are 2 F-14s in Iran that are still flyable. They don't fly them, but they are
Allegedly.
flyable. Yeah, Rick, they've been bumping people around, and they did something that the subforce has learned how to do, and that is, if people are stuck on the boat for a long period of time, they'll kick them off, send them to a fleet carrier that is operational to keep their qualifications up. Now,
Smart.
I don't know about the LTs, but I'm betting that's probably what they did. So, anyway, they are one step closer. Yeah. Yeah, Jason, if only. That was one of the more egregious, badly put together scenes in that movie.
Oh, Top Gun.
Yeah. Because if they had actually launched an F-14 and tried to do that and clocked the nose gear, that airplane would have blown up. Plain and simple. Yeah. Couldn't have been one of those Iranians. Yeah, right. In good news, personal anyway, I finished RimWorld Diversions, and it's out to the beta readers, 82,000 words. And I owe a debt of thanks to Cedar for helping me to unscrew the corner I had written myself into.
It was just pacing. That's all.
Yeah. So hopefully it will be live sometime next week. And this is Danny and Daniela in another go around. So a few more changes and some oddities on the crew come to fore. Yeah, Dave. Some of us are more familiar with that Connor than others, because some of us cannot seem to keep from writing ourselves into a Connor, which is one of the problems with being a pantser as opposed to a outliner. Although I have known outliners that wrote themselves into worse Connors.
Chris says he feels like a survivor, very happy.
Can't ask for much more than that. Eating a salad from the top down, not the bottom up.
Not roots up.
Yeah. So anyway, having fun with the. Now I've got 4 short stories I've got to write in the next 45 days.
Oh, that's nothing. You got that.
I was looking up the name of the mountain range in Iran. I forgot what the hell the name of it was. It's Zagros.
Zagros, yeah.
Some fairly decent mountains there.
Yeah.
With snow.
Yep.
So anyway, that's my 2 rants.
Okay.
One, if they're not if they didn't even try to find a fingerprint, and chain of custody says they should at least enter where the attempt to find a fingerprint. If that wasn't even done, I know exactly what happened.
Differ will get you in the habit sooner or later.
Space Cowboys Volume 3, Version 2, Version 3. What the hell? Stop changing it. Send it in. Goldfish shoals, nibbling away. We've got some weirdos in
yeah.
our.
You just think you are, Differ. We know who you are, who your
Invisible.
family is.
Invisible. Maybe not. Let's see. We were.
Poker's if she's awake yet.
I'm here. Yeah, no.
Well,
I
when
will
I see
smack-
the eyeballs start drooping,
I'm awake.
yes, Zab, the next RimWorld after this one will be back to Fargo and the crew. And that one will probably be the last one in the series.
Not only did she just yawned. I didn't just see back teeth. I saw tonsils.
Which is a trick because I don't have any.
I think it was the uvula is what you saw.
You know, that yawn broke space time. For those of you wondering, Courtney's on some really good beds.
Yes, she is. She's on the really good ones.
And most of us did not get a lot of sleep last night because of the weather.
Yeah. I was up watching the weather. It was a gorgeous storm, and then I plopped
She
down,
watched
so-
it in 30-second clips.
I did. Oh, it's been.
Oh, and
it's been
somebody
fun.
gave us this.
Why?
That is our stand-in Sarah. She's coming with us to Imaginarium, and so
And to be clear, that would be Sarah that does the editing for us, not Sarah Hoyt.
yes, that is
Sarah, our editor,
yes.
has a stand-in.
Who will cut you if you get it wrong?
Yeah, you spell it right or get cut. We also have a stand-in for Cedar somewhere.
Yeah.
It's a little armored possum.
Yes,
That would be my stand-in.
yes. So they can join us at Imaginarium and have all
Awesome.
the fun and shenanigans.
Possum armor.
Fluffy armor on that one.
Looked more like an armadillo.
It is an armadillo. Armored possum, armadillo.
You got it.
I'm sorry. People that confuse the two bother me.
Yeah, so Cedar will be sitting in on panels, as will Sarah. Let's see. let's see, where was I? I was actually thinking of something.
Yeah, Rick, there will be things happening in the next version of the book.
Cecil's girlfriend after finishes. You're gonna have to ask. You're gonna have to ask Kelly about that.
Don't give Kelly any ideas.
He hadn't. That boy's weird enough. He doesn't need extra
He's
ideas.
in here.
Kelly in here. There he is.
I mean, Toradol works.
That's what I had mine actually working on it right now. I actually went. I had a kidney stone in the middle of one of Rita's Flim Fest. She had a
Yeah.
party. I wound up with through a kidney stone, and went into the same ER she went to. Only I had a doctor who'd had one before. Knew exactly what it was. We saw me come in, and they gave me IV Toradol, and I was happy. But I couldn't. They said, you're not sleeping yet. I said, okay. So they piggybacked a line of Demerol on top of the Toradol, and I was blowing bubbles for about 72 hours.
He came over to the house, sat down in a chair, and went,
And zonked.
I feel so good.
I just zonked.
And smiling ear to ear.
Yep.
And never moved. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just so story about where the armadillos come from. Yeah, the Jaguar kind of lost a bet on that story.
Oh, Kelly ain't right.
Uh,
Oh, Kelly ain't right. Y'all need to buy his books. Kelly needs to survive as an author, so we get more of his not rightness.
yeah, and On Scene is coming out at the end of the month,
Yes,
which we've only been waiting for 10 years.
for X number of years. Yes.
10 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So he's got On
Really?
Scene out, and he's supposed to be working on the second in the Kindred cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, and he'll also be Waffle Master at
Yeah.
Beacon.
Yeah, and Siege of Waffle House 1347. But you didn't give us a date for that one, so I can't pimp it on my blog.
Seriously, he needs to write more because Kelly, he's a fantastic storyteller, and he's one of the few folks that can. Storytelling is verbal, whereas writing is not. Is more kinetic. And he's one of the few people I know of that can actually transition between storytelling, verbally, and writing. And we need to encourage that. Buy his books.
Yeah, Rick, being right in the head is just wrong.
That man ain't right.
I saw that. I'm admiring the tying on the.
Say what?
What the shit?
Jesus Christ.
Is that Wendell and Shabari?
Yes, it is.
I'm done.
I'm
done.
I'm admiring the shibari on the Wendell. Honestly, that's quite well done
No.
for something that's.
No, that's
You know
just
what
no.
that man does for a living? He ties knots righteously. Well, they're not. He
No.
also uses them in that way. I'm not.
No, 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 no. Who was that?
Mark Adkins.
Of course.
Yes, Ian knows what it is, and yes, he's melting down over here. Have a good one, Raptor. Enjoy your meeting. Yeah, if you're doing it right, it does take several hours.
Okay, subject change. Done.
Most,
Done.
most of the mates are pretty good at knots too.
We're done. We're done. Moving on. Moving on.
Actually, one other one I did post on my blog today.
Okay.
Why do you think I was
Shut
going
up.
back to that one? Jason, really? Oh. And Don says, I'm making notes for Bloggerado. It's okay.
Seriously? Really?
Oh,
Y'all ain't right.
I will be the first one to admit I have not studied D-Day as much as I should since there was less Navy participation than compared to other things. But it was interesting to run across a report from one of the British researchers yesterday who said there was a sixth D-Day beach called Band
Okay.
that was never hit. And it was apparently in the original classified planning, but they chose not to do it. Yeah, Mark Felden did an excellent job on that. But they chose not to do it because they figured they could invest the guns from the beach next to it rather than put another set of landing craft in on that beach, because there were two major sets of guns they were looking at that could potentially impact Sword from the land.
Okay.
And they made a determination that it would be easier to just send extra people into Sword and have them turn left, go up the beach, and take the guns, which they ended up doing.
No, that was a Cedar thing.
What did I do now?
Spurgle mullet.
Oh,
I decided to flash a quick picture of Spurgle in a mullet.
Yeah.
we're not actually using that, but it is
I know
priceless.
that's why I put it up.
Yeah, Rick, better never hit because canceled instead of never hit because nobody made it to the beach, which is true. And quite frankly, the Navy presence was pretty much out of landing craft. They had problems having enough to get 5 beaches, much less 6. And they actually had to redirect some of the manufacturing that was supposed to go to the Pacific to the Atlantic to be able to actually be able to make the landings. And there was quite a to-do about that because a lot of those Higgins boats came out of Louisiana.
All of them came out of Louisiana, didn't they?
Yeah,
Well, the factory.
there were other companies making them, but a lot of them came out of Louisiana. And there was a huge fight at the very, very top levels of,
And on the beach too.
Huh?
And on the beach
Yeah.
too.
but the powers that be in the Pacific, Nimitz, wanted more of them because of the battles
The island hopping.
and the island hopping that was going on. And Eisenhower wanted more of them because of D-Day. But the people in the Pacific weren't told about what they were planning for D-Day because Marshall was playing I Got a Secret.
Well, you didn't want to. I mean, you got in order for a secret to not land in a German lap.
Yeah.
You need to keep it to as few people as possible until the entire Pacific theater. Douglas
Well,
MacArthur wasn't all that great on keeping
And I
secrets.
think part of Marshall's rationale was by not telling MacArthur, he had less worries about it getting out.
Mhm.
Because MacArthur
Mm-hmm.
would have said something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, MacArthur did more harm than he did good in a lot of places.
Oh yeah.
And of course, there was no love lost between Marshall and MacArthur or Eisenhower and MacArthur either.
Or MacArthur and anybody who might be a peer.
Strangely enough, the one person that he never argued with was King, Ernest King. Probably because Ernest King had a reputation for stomping into somebody's office and confronting them from across the desk, or confronting them standing next to him and offering to fight him. Not that he was a grumpy old bastard, but
Nobody at this table would know anything about grumpy old bastards.
yeah.
I say nothing. I know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, Richard, that was one of the interesting there was always a question as whether that was an actual set of D-Day plans that was lost on a Brit bus or whether that was the part of the
Whole misdirection thing.
misdirection thing with Fleming.
Oh, in other good news, a good rant instead of a bad rant, I would like to thank the French military for reestablishing my faith in the French low-level NCOs.
Yeah.
Because at the riots, apparently, a whole bunch of people, very well muscled, very athletic, acting like they've done this before, wearing matching balaclavas and matching green shirts, are coming out of the shadows, jumping on rioters, tuning them up a bit, putting them in zip ties and presenting them to the French police.
Yeah.
There coincidentally has to be a French Marine, whatever the French Marine Commandos base nearby. And when asked, the apparently the French commander of the French Marine Commando base went,
In the way only a Frenchman can.
Yeah. Well, the interesting part is none of the news media said anything about the fact that it's the Muslims rioting.
Well, of course
of course not.
And the cops are starting to go into the no-go zones, which is provoking them even further.
Well, yeah.
And
But apparently some very large, very well muscled, very well trained young people in matching civilian clothes have been
also some people that might have come out of the French Foreign Legion might be
wandering
around.
The riders are surviving.
Yeah,
It's not La Legion. The riders are surviving.
Yeah, it was. That's
apparently, according to police, these mysterious strangers are moving with skill and purpose.
Yeah,
but they're not military.
Yeah, that is a great story.
Where are your E4s and your junior sergeants?
Went in and demolished the shipyard, and he and his buddies stole the parquet flooring and put it in their house. Yes, that's a good Louisiana family. That's why old man Schwest painted his boats such an ugly color, because marine paint is expensive. And he said, I can drive down through Shoudreau all the way to the shipyard, and I see a house that's painted that looks like my damn boat. I know which son of a bitch been stealing paint from me. And that is a true story.
No, I believe it.
Well, he was a sly old bugger. He talked the Navy out of a brand new, complete drivetrain for a Guppy 3 submarine. Engines, diesel, electric, whole 9 yards for free, and had the Navy pay to install it in his shipyard into the Cornish West, because she was a bit noisy, because she was a converted North Sea oil boat. And all of a sudden she got a lot quieter and a lot faster.
The thing about the French military that I knew is their officers were abominable. They had the occasional brilliant officer, but most of them were bloody awful. NCOs were top notch.
Yeah.
French military NCOs are great. Their officers not so much.
Yeah, that pretty much goes across the entire spectrum. French aviation, yeah, they're a little bit better, but not. I'm not going to say they're not great. They're average. ASW
better than the Russians.
Yeah, ASW folks are pretty decent, because you got to be fairly good to fly down low and not run into the water. But they're pilots, jet pilots, average.
Let me say they're the small unit guys I ran across. Their officers were officers. They had the occasional flash, brilliant one, but most of the who's tapping on the table? It's me. Leave me alone. I'm bumping my knee. Leave me alone. The NCOs are outstanding. Brits had better officers for the most part, but again, flashes of brilliance. And NCO Corps with the Brits I worked with back in the 80s and 90s was outstanding.
Yeah, the Germans, good officers, good senior enlisted.
German officers are fantastic.
Yeah.
German officers, some of the best officers I dealt with.
But they are by the book.
So, well, if it be done this way.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons they're such good officers.
But that also ties them up.
A little bit.
That's one of the reasons GSG 9 was, yeah, that's Ian sitting over here thumping.
Leave me alone.
That's part of the reason that GSG 9 was not under the military. Because GSG 9 pulled people from a lot of special operations.
Mhm.
But it was all mid-level to upper level enlisted because they were adaptable enough to get the job done, which they have proven more than once. And also, they had no qualms whatsoever about shooting.
No.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they could be fairly enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the German ASW folks, they're pretty good. They and then there were the Italians.
Italians have really good military. People give both the French and Italian shit for what they did during World War II. As far as being crap, they're not. They're really good. The reason why the French and Italians were crap during World War II is they didn't want to be there.
But when they sneak in on a torpedo range to watch, and they get too friggin' close,
It's a thousands. it's Italians.
Yeah.
No, they're
and the crew had to abort the launch.
Italians and French have really great militaries. Their records in World War II is because they didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
The average Italian military wasn't from Mussolini, and didn't want to be fighting.
And I will say the Italian construction side of the house, not so much.
Well, no.
They built a brand new structure at NAS Sigonella for the air Italian side of the air base. And they made a couple of minor mistakes. When they went to open the building, they had all the speeches, everything else. And the CG commanding general that was making the speech went inside, needed to go to the bathroom. And there was no water. And when they went to flip on the lights, there were no lights.
But was the structure solid?
Yes,
Okay.
but it wasn't connected to anything.
Minor details. You can connect everything up later.
It took them 6 months because they had to go in and drill out the floors to put the plumbing in. And they might have had to put a few holes in the walls to get the electrical into the boxes that were inside.
But it was solid.
Oh, it was solid.
And they stuck that schedule.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be open that day. They opened it that day.
Yeah.
It didn't have shit inside of it, but it was
Yeah,
open that day.
It was fiddly bitch, yeah. Well, it's like the other story with Sigonella is the ditches down at NAS too. When I was first over there in the 70s, these ditches were 2 feet wide, 3 feet wide, and about 2 feet deep. You could jump them real easily. Last time I was there in 2010, they were 20 feet wide, 10 feet deep, and concreted.
By God, you had runoff. You had drainage.
But the wiring for the runway was still the World War II cloth wrap wire, or
Yes.
paper wrap wire. I'm sorry, not even cloth wrap, paper wrap. So every time the runway lights got wet, they shorted out.
Of course.
And they took the tower out with it. Now, we had learned this in the 80s. And the U.S. Navy and the Seabees actually put in a generator for the tower that could run the control tower so that in bad weather, you could actually land your airplane reasonably safely if you didn't mind not having runway lights.
I remember Italians put in put a drainage system in Tripoli.
Yeah.
And the ditches were 4 feet deep and 3 feet wide, and they zigzagged.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's going to be interesting for runoff.
Yeah.
It's for runoff. It's going to be, okay, no problem.
Yes. And yeah, it was always fun because, especially when you had Etna erupting and the weather was going to crap and it's raining and it's dark and you're coming down on short final and maybe 50 feet in the air, and all of a sudden you hear out of the flight station, shit, they turned off the lights. And you go, eh.
They didn't turn off the lights. Mother Nature turned off the lights.
And about that time, the airplane goes thud. It's like, oh, well, we landed. Okay, guys, we landed before the runway lights went out.
It's rough. Yep. Run off in your you give them.
Yeah. 24 volts on the primary loop DC. Yep. You would have loved what happened at Cecil. We had a P3 that tried to crash at Jacksonville and didn't quite crash well enough and staggered back in the air, shearing its gear off.
Well, that's not optimal.
No. It was even less optimal because I was the CDO that day. And I told them to go to Cecil.
Compulsive disorder obsessive?
Yeah. Told them to go to Cecil, call Cecil's tower and said, you got a P3 inbound to crash on your emergency landing on your field. Put them on a runway that's not used that much. And they did. The airplane landed safely, slid off the runway. So get everybody out, do all the hoops and bells and whistles. A couple of months later, they go over to retrieve the airplane and have to take the wings off, pick up the fuselage. Underneath the fuselage is a 115 kVA transformer full of jet fuel that nobody knew about. It was not on the plans. And that one got a few people's attention.
From a distance, one hopes.
Rain that was right there, and the guys were adjusting the slings as the airplane was coming up. And one of the guys apparently tripped over the box.
All righty then.
Yeah.
Time to go buy a lottery ticket.
Rick, it was considerable because they were bringing the engines back from Cecil to Jacksonville, to NAS Jacks, to rework them. And two of them fell off the truck coming over to Makwana.
The universe just had a mad on for that plane.
Yeah. And it had just come out of rework that day.
And the universe said, fuck you.
Yeah. It was being test flown.
Fuck this plane.
And the crew got distracted on final. And they were in the process of redoing the runway at NAS Jacks. So the first 1,000 feet was sand with an 18-inch lip where they had cut out bad concrete. And the crew was used to landing about 500 feet down the runway. And they landed, realized what they want to do. What they did, went to pull back about the time they hit that 18-inch lip. And the gear went, bye. At the same time that
And the universe said, that's the first part.
yeah. At the same time that the number 2 fuel tank decided to go, oh, I got ripped apart. I think I'll leak all over everything.
Second part.
Yep. Yeah, that was an interesting day at the orifice. Yeah. Yeah, well.
Mini Marine is diaperless and has scissors.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, this is going to be fun, Differ. So next time we see Differ, she's going to have a high and tight on one side and long hair on the other side.
Well, since Mini Marine doesn't have any hair himself, he
Yeah.
does, however, have other jangly bits he might snip at with scissors. which would be
I wasn't
bad.
going to go there. I was definitely staying far away from that.
He's a toddler. Trust me, they will do things that are not
Keep
Trust
them
me,
away-
conducive
Carlton.
to continued survival.
Keep them
Yeah,
away from
no
the
kidding.
cats and the chickens.
Yes. The cats, the
Gremlins.
dogs, the chickens.
Gremlins is not mythical. If you've been in aviation for any length of time, Gremlins is not mythical. Trust me.
If you've been on this planet for any length of time, if you made your 50s, you don't believe in gremlins, I got news for you.
Yeah. YD-10. Flying along in the middle of nowhere, perfect calm day, not usual, and the airplane shudders for about 10 seconds. No cause. The airplane blows an
Gremlins.
aileron power pack. The only P-3 that's ever blown an aileron power pack. Don't know why. Rudder locked up one day on short final end of Diego Garcia. Nobody knows why.
If you've made it in your 5th decade, you don't believe in gremlins,
Yeah.
I got news for you.
Now that airplane was the one that mid-aired with the C-130, cut 8.5 feet of the wingtip off, but yeah, minor problem.
Insignificant little details, really.
Yeah.
Saved the cat,
I'm in Texas.
got a diaper, and he hid the scissors before.
That kid is thinking.
Where did he hide the
I
scissors?
love Jesse. I'm in tech. I've listed gremlins in official RCA paperwork. I can believe that.
He hid the scissors before where?
That is $1 million question. Where this is.
That kid is going places.
Yes.
Maybe not college, but places.
Padre, I would say you need a lot more holy water, like probably thousands of gallons, because there's a lot of airplanes out there that could use help.
Scissors.
Possibly prison, but far.
He's going to boot camp is where he's going. Uh-huh.
Menahunis, Kami, yeah. Got to appease the fae when required. Yeah.
My child has good time credit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, U2s are another one. U2s, SR-71s. Yeah.
Holy water can cause shorts. You have my attention. I
Yeah.
wish to subscribe to your newsletter. Oh, you mean short circuits?
Yeah.
My bad.
I like Brennan's. My child was the inmate of the month.
My child has good time credit.
Tequila can cause children. Yes.
Mhm.
My child was voted most likely to over.
Hearing shouts of affirmation from John on that one.
My child was voted most likely to overthrow a third world government. He's yours.
Well, the question is, was that him or her? Because the daughter was just as bad.
It's a Rognaby child. Of course, he's gonna.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't introduced the Rognaby slogan yet, have we?
The Rognaby's overthrow a government just to get their allowance in the morning.
Speaking of which, Tom, your check's in the mail. Actually went out today.
Children can cause tequila. What?
Yeah, the reverse is also true. Oh, that is hilarious, Padre.
Overthrowing third world governments is not as hard as one might think. You can, as a matter of fact, do it by accident.
Maybe include that in the book once or twice.
Padre says, my S6 NCOIC asked for a reason why my old computer needed to be replaced. I said that it had fried when I anointed it with holy water.
Sometimes it's the only answer.
Well, better holy water than pineapple juice.
Crazy ants.
Oh,
And at a surprisingly young age, well, by accident. Whoops.
yeah, I need to check Pub
What-
Sherry.
would you like your government back? Sorry,
Oh,
my bad.
well, only because you gave it back.
Have you seen
Yes, I have.
There's a whole bunch of paperwork that gets involved. It just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
All very well to overthrow a government, then you get the paperwork, and that's just a pain in the ass.
I just like to fill out my papers.
Okay. I worry when Cedar walks by smiling.
Grinning. Yeah, I mean, if you overthrow a government, and you read all the novels, it's all very, very romantic, all that. Then they present you with the paperwork.
Yeah.
Thrones and concubines and taxes and
Concubines aren't worth
paperwork.
it.
Damn it.
The concubines aren't worth the paperwork.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
I've thought a few times that if I were born a few hundred years ago, I might have wound up as a concubine.
You need a better quality of concubine. Damn, really?
True. It's true. Like
Oh, and you break it,
There's
you bought
not
it.
a lot of other jobs for intelligent women back in the day.
And that was a job for an intelligent woman, believe it or not. But you break it, you buy it, does not apply to governments or countries.
Really? Because I think it should.
No. No.
And Tom says it's all fun and games until you're on the highway between St. Petersburg and Viborg in the trunk of a Lada. Yeah, maybe. Oh, RK, bless you for that.
Yeah, it's just
Ah,
people, all these books about, all these romantic Mac Bolan books never get into the paperwork.
no.
Look, look, oh joy, you overthrew the country. Yeah, people lining up, grateful you overthrew it, which shit you got to sign.
Yeah.
They never cover that in the books. Sign here. You just signed for a country. What?
Yeah.
What if I don't want it? You have it.
Yeah.
I just shot a few people and overthrew it. It's yours. I don't want it.
That's always the problem with being a conquering savage. You conquer the thing, and then you're still the savage. So you don't want to deal with it,
And then civilization shows up. What the hell?
right?
But that's the part that never gets written about.
Right.
That's kind of why John Ringo stopped the March series at
Yeah.
Few.
Yeah.
Because the next bit was the boring bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Tom said, not on my hand receipt. I didn't sign for this thing. You metaphorically signed for it when you shot the last president. What the hell?
I like Padre. The business isn't finished until paperwork's done. I'll get the toilet paper.
I don't want it. I didn't want them to have it. Yes, exactly.
Unfortunately, to keep them from having it, you got to have it. It's like, what the hell am I going to do with this?
Yeah, John does make a good point. If you don't invent paper, there's no paperwork.
Damned Egyptians.
No. They were doing it before with clay.
Yeah. Cuneiform on clay. Yeah.
There will always be bureaucrats who insist on writing things down.
Never understood harems. Oh, I understand harems to give the women something to do other than bother you.
The copper was fine.
What?
800. I'm a Robbie would like a word with you. Differ says 800-page book, 120 of fighting, 680 of
The
paperwork.
paperwork. I understand a harem. Trust me, give the women something to do.
Well, they were growing their own, so to speak.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at where some of those canvas areas are out in the desert,
Yeah.
they didn't have a harem. They were going to starve to death and die.
Give them something to do.
Mhm.
Because you have a bunch of women looking at you, and your life is short and nasty.
Yeah.
Give them something to do.
Now, then they plot and scheme against you. And then it becomes a fight over who's going to be the one that gets to kill you.
Yes, Barney Miller was the most realistic cop show on TV.
Yeah. Found in the oven ruins of her. Leader thanks. Performance this quarter was suboptimal. Needs to work on maintenance for spirit and spend more time outside of the harem.
Do not promote before peers. I'll take reasons. The harem doors locked from the outside for 1,000. Yes.
Oh yeah. Anytime you start looking over somebody's shoulder, exponential growth of the paperwork and follow-up is going to be huge. He was maintaining his spear in the air. Wrong spear, Dan.
He doesn't have that much energy.
And the question was how much wear and tear there was.
He doesn't have that much energy.
That's why you make them patrons of the arts. Go find all the fancy boys who aren't interested in you.
But did they have Shabari?
Of course, Don. I should have. I just.
Got dull from overuse.
Every fourth week we're going hunting your invading country. You know?
Well, the one of the throwaway lines. I'm changing the subject here. One of the throwaway lines in my introduction to the first Malta book was the fact that what led to the Great Siege was the fact that one of the chief eunuchs of the harem had managed to talk the ladies of the harem into investing in investment opportunities. And that went rather well. And then the Knights of Malta showed up and stole all of them.
Yeah.
So apparently having an entire harem whinging is enough to invade a country.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. They're quite good at it.
And on that note, folks, I think we're going to quit while we're about.
Please,
Before we get any further behind,
please.
say hi to Gordon for us, Nancy. Going to war to get a little peace and quiet. Yeah.
And the daughter's wet nurse. The daughter's wet nurse was a big part of it because nobody can tug at daddy's heartstrings like his favorite daughter.
Yeah.
But then again, you have the entire harem whinging.
Yeah.
And all of the harem eunuchs moping about because they've lost several fortunes. You go to war to get them to shut up.
Tell you, I'm talking to a former jailer who worked for him.
Really? Seriously? Who?
That
Oh,
might not be.
Baronmeyer?
Oh, God.
I was going to say that might not be a public thing.
Baronmeyer. Holy shit, is a small world.
Yeah, it is.
Tell Baronmeyer I said hi.
Yeah.
Holy gods, it's a small world.
She doesn't like me.
Sweet. Well done. I didn't know she
Ah.
went to. I didn't know she went to the Northwest.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, have a good weekend. And remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sweaty stuff. And we'll see you next Tuesday for the only show next week since
We're going to Imaginarium.
we're going to the Imaginarium on
On the
Thursday.
road again.
Yeah.
So there will be more Two Foxes in the Car update because Rita got kind of giggly over the last one. So that's
I've already
right, folks.
started to create images.
yes.
Oh, boy. Yes, Don, you can.
Shut off the live stream.
Hi, folks.